And here we are live. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this live coding session. It's already a little bit late here in Belgium. It's already 10 o'clock, but I thought, hey, as a last thing to do today, I want to add like a little feature to Oh Dear. So let me share my screen and so I can show you what I want to add. It's something really simple. Share the screen. Which screen? Screen one. Share it. There you go. So, what are we going to do? We are going to add a feature to Oh Dear, and for those that don't know it, Oh Dear is this uptime checker service that I've built together with my buddy Matthias, and we also get some support from my colleague at Spatie, Sebastian, who does all the layout. And today I came across this tweet from James Ivings, who said that Google has a secret API that can show you any website's icon or favicon. And I thought, wouldn't it be nice if we could display the favicon in this list of sites? So this is like the dashboard that you see when you log into Oh Dear. And I think it might be nice for people to recognize their sites by seeing that little favicon. So that is what we are going to do. I'm going to talk while I code, so probably I'll move a little bit slower than that I'm used to, because I have to explain everything, what's in my head and what I'm thinking. And I'll also keep my eye on the chat, so if you have any questions about what I'm doing or other things that you want to ask, just shoot. This is like a social session. I'm assuming that everybody can hear me okay and see the screen okay. If not, just let me know. Okay, so let's toy a little bit with this code pen from the tweet. So here we have the different URLs where these icons are generated, and it seems that there are multiple services that I could use for this. But let's see, this one. Let's start a little bit with this one first. I don't need to tweet anymore. So let's see. This is Twitter. Let's see if I can make it a little bit bigger. So this is nice that I don't have to crawl the Twitter site and search for the favicon, but I can just get it here. I'm going to hide this dialog. But this is already a little bit blurry. This isn't that good. Let me check with a few sites of my own, Spatie, so that S is a little bit blurry. Try my own blog. There should be like a favicon of a Game Boy for those who are old enough to know what this is. It's a little bit blurry. Let's see as what this comes back. Network. Let's inspect headers. This is a PNG, so that's good. And what happens when I do something that doesn't exist? Does not exists. And it gives me back this, and it gives me back a 404. All right, that's good that it's a 404, because I don't want to display this generic icon when I import it. So I need to have a way that I know that this doesn't exist. Or is this like the favicon? This is like the favicon from this side. So if a site doesn't exist, it gives back a 200. That isn't good because I don't want to display a generic favicon. Then I'd rather not display anything at all. All right, that's Google. DDG, DuckDuckGo. They give back an icon. I guess that's fine as long as it can be displayed. And judging from what I see here, I don't know if you see that on the stream well, but these ones are definitely a little bit more blurry than these ones. This one is pretty sharp for some of the icons. Okay, let's play a little bit with this one as well. So I don't have a size parameter here, it's just this. And I have to tack on ICO there. Let's try it for back from Spatie. That's good. This is reasonably sharp, or sharper than what Google gave me. Let's try fake.diff. Okay, that's a sharp Game Boy. Let's try and do something that doesn't exist, does not exist. That gives me an arrow. But this one is 4.4, so this is better because now I can detect that DuckDuckGo didn't give a favicon for this site, so I like this better. Hey, Nuno, let's Google. Programming can't be more realistic than this. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so DuckDuckGo is in any case better than the Google API because the Google API doesn't tell me if an favicon couldn't be found. Okay, let's try the last one, an avatar. Ooh, this is a big one that it gives back. Let's try it with Spatie. I like that I get something big back, but this isn't our favicon. This is our logo. So, and I don't want to display like a very large image. And if I would make this very small, then you have like these tiny letters. But if you go back and see at the avatar, not the avatar, sorry, the Go representation, this one, then for Spatie, it really gives our favicon back with is only the S and not all the letters. Let's maybe see what fake.dev is back. It gives back my face. That is not my avatar, and I don't want to display like this in the list of sites. So I think an avatar, not going to use it, but for completion, let's try something that does not exist. This. I think macOS 6 face back. And this one also gives back a 200 instead of a 404. So that isn't good. So we have a clear winner here. DuckDuckGo is definitely like the best suited one for me. Let's see here. Is it real time or based on their index? I actually don't know. That's maybe a good thing to research, but I'm not going to do that now. I'm pretty happy with the fact that I don't have to try to determine the favicon myself, that I can use a service for that. I want a fake face as a little Easter egg when clicking the favicon a few times. Maybe I can do that on my blog. Okay. So the DuckDuckGo way is the way to go. Okay, then we need to add it to our site, right? So I got a version of Odir running locally at odir.test. Now there's one difference between production and the testing environment. I'm already using PHP 8 locally. And the test suite of Odir also runs locally perfectly. I did that before the stream, but I haven't tested all the screens. So I hope we don't get in any funny problems because of PHP 8 locally. So this is like our newish dashboard of Odir. For those that don't know Odir, if you add a site, we can monitor if it is up or down. We can monitor the performance. We can check the certificate. We can check mixed content and broken links. So unlike other services, we crawl your entire site and give a warning when there's a broken link. And we also monitor cron jobs. So if a scheduled task of your application is not executed on time, we can give a warning for that as well. And of course, we send notifications. You don't have to watch this dashboard the whole time. We'll send a notification in the form of a mail or a Slack notification or whatever. Okay. Let's go to the code base and already try to implement something. So I've done nothing in the code base except that I've already created a favicons branch where I want to do everything, but nothing here has been done yet. Okay, let's go to our domain first. And I want to add something to the site domain. So we split up our application into several domains because otherwise the application is just too large. I'm not going to dive into domains, the whole explanation right now, but it's a way of just splitting your application in smallish parts so it's easy to work on. And everything regarding a site is here. If I open up another one, here you have like our entire notification system, which has its models of its own and so on. And we have certain actions here that can happen. These are like isolated pieces of logic that you can call from the places where you want them to be called. So I'm thinking that adding an avatar to a site is like an isolated action. So I'm going to create an action class for that. So I'm going to add not avatar, but favicon. Add favicon to site. Action.php. It's not a valid class name. Add it. If you want to know more about like actions and the structure, we've written a book on that, Laravel Beyond CRUD. Google that. That's like the best way of programming, a wise man said. And that's a book containing the whole reasoning why we have such structure. So an action as by convention an execute method. And I want to have like a site where I'm going to import favicon for, and it's the model. And here I should probably have like the URL where I want to fetch the favicon from. Let's see, it was this one, right? And here I could do freak.dev, right? Yeah. So it's this one. This is the URL. But instead of the hard-coded domain, I should use here the site, and I think I have a method here, get domain without protocol. So a domain in our database or site in our database has a URL, and it's HTTP. It's the protocol and the domain, so HTTP freek.dev, and with this function, I just get freek.dev, which is exactly what I want. And now I should download the file to somewhere. But I'm not going to download it myself, but I'm going to use the media library for this. The media library has a fine method to add a file from a URL. So there's logic in the media library to download the file. There's a question here from Hans. Why use an API instead of trying to get it from the domain directly? Well, because of simplicity, really. Because I don't want to have like the logic of scraping that. I might change my stance on this in the future, but having built Odir, I know that there are really strange things happening on the internet sometimes. That servers might not expect to send things that you might expect. You might expect like an HTML page, and suddenly you get like a binary blob that doesn't stop. So actually getting something from a site, it can be a little bit icky if you want to do it right. And in Odir, we monitor like a lot of sites, and I think it's just safer for now to start with a service that does that for us. But I might try and implement it myself. But I think it'll take more time. I think this will be easier. That's why I'm using an API for this. Okay, so for those that don't know the media library yet, let's go to its documentation. So it's one of our bigger packages. So the documentation is on spatie.be. And it's basically a package that allows you to associate files with eloquent models. So you can say, hey, this file belongs to that model. Which is perfectly what we want, because we want to associate a favicon with a site model. And if we take a look at maybe, there is a method here, add media from, it's not from request, it's from URL maybe? Media from URL? Yeah, add media from URL. You give the URL and it will try to download it. Now I see here that this title is all uppercased, and I think I should fix that. That's a side note. This should use like the regular casing. It's a little bit inconvenient that this is all caps. But I'm already off the path here. Okay, if you want to use the media library on a certain model, you need to implement an interface and use a trait. Now, I think this is some silly find and replace action where we added those new lines. So I'm going to remove those new lines. Here I'm going to implement, I think the interface is called has media, and the trait is called interacts with media, like that. Yeah. And now I can define, this is optional, a media collection. Get or register media collections. And here I can define a favicon collection which has certain behavior. Let me type it out, and then you'll see it. So what's the method called? Add media collection. Yeah, add media collection. And this collection will be called favicon. And This will be a single file collection, and that means that if I put a file in here for the first time, the media library will just add a file. But if I add another file to this collection, it will delete the previous one. And I think this will be handy when we have like a cron job that just every week or month fetches new favicons. If there is a new favicon found, that the old one is being is deleted. Then I also want to add the favicons to like a separate disk. I like to use for media separate disks for separate purposes. So if I ever want to throw all favicons away, I can just do so without modifying anything else. So I'm going to use the disk favicons for this, and then I should also add that disk here. So these are like the disks used for Odir. Maybe later I'll put them on S3, but for now I'm going to add them locally. So I should have a disk favicons. The root will be a public favicons. The URL will be that's correct. Visibility public, I guess that's good. Okay. Okay. So we have the URL here, and now on site I can say add media from URL, give it this URL. To media collection favicon. And yeah, I've defined that media collection here. So if I add something there, it will be a single file collection and we'll use this disk. Yeah, the media library is definitely one of my favorite packages because it can do stuff like this so easily. What should I do? This action isn't going to return anything, so this can be void. And I can imagine that if the if that service is down, I don't want this action to fail because it's not that important. So I'm going to put this like in a try catch block. Exception. I'm just going to report the exception for now, but I don't want anything to fail or bubble up for now. All right, so this is like the action. And when do I want to do this? Well, I have a create site action here, which will be executed when to create a site. And let's see what's in here. So we add the checks here. We have a site added event. You know what? For now, I'm just going to add like a new add favicon site action. I'm going to execute it. And I'm going to pass the site. So then this will get executed as well. I'm going to take a little sip while I check the comments. No questions, perfect. Then I can continue. Let's see. Okay, we have our dashboard here. Let's immediately try to add it to the dashboard. So this is actually a Livewire component. It's called site list. site list component. It renders this view. And you can see here that here a list is being rendered. And here we have the site name, which is this. And here we have the protocol. And maybe we should just add the favicon before the protocol. I think that's nice because the URL here can already be a little bit long here. You can see that Sebastian already took care of URLs that can be very long, like this one. Okay, so I guess I need to put it in this span. And then here I should have an if statement because we only need to do this if we have the favicon. And we can get the URL by doing this. So this is a site model. And here I can get first media URL. So I'm getting the URL for the first media of the collection favicon. It's favicon, right? Not favicons. No, the collection is called favicon. And the nice thing about that icon here is that I don't need to convert it at all to something else. I can just display that icon if there's something there. So let's do image source and go for URL. Let's also add an alt tag. This is the favicon. And with any luck, this could already be it. Let's refresh, but nothing will happen here because get first URL standard class. Yeah. Okay, in a previous version of the dashboard, we used a real site model here, but in this current version, we actually already get all the data in the component, and it's actually a DOM array being passed here. So I need to do this in the component, I guess. Site list components. Here you see it that we load everything here already, and here I should have favicon. Like that. Favicon, the first media URL favicon. Yeah, and this will return null if there isn't a favicon. So I can still do something like this. Site favicon. Is favicon, but let's make it a little bit more explicit. So favicon URL. These are cased like this. URL. Also favicon URL. URL. And it should load now without any problems. Yeah, and it does. Okay, let's maybe try to actually add a site to see if all of this is working. So let's add a site. Let's try one. Fake.dev maybe. Should add a protocol here. See what happens. We have something here, but it isn't displayed. So I guess the URL is isn't good. Oh dear, test storage. Okay. Let's take a look. Up public favicons. This is already good that we already have a favicon. Is it in there? Ah, yeah, this is the favicon, so that's good. And this is also something good. The media library, it can generate hard to guess URLs. So imagine that this is like a regular number, then people could just go and try and guess certain URLs, but having like a random directory name makes it unguessable. That's why this is like a hard for humans to read directory. But why do I get this? Maybe it's I need to have that symlink there. Yeah, this is something from Laravel itself where you can put like a symlink. So the things are stored in your storage directory, so that they are certainly out of version control. But in the public directory, we have like a symlink now with the favicons. So will it work? Was that a problem? No, that wasn't a problem. If anybody, the URL is missing favicons. See, this is why I love streams, because it's a little bit of mob coding, and you're my brains now when I make stupid mistakes. Thanks, Hans. So, file systems. Up public favicons, so that's good. The URL is missing favicons. Maybe indeed favicons, like that. What do you know? We have our favicon here. That is nice. Yeah, I'm a little bit amazed about how simple this was to do. Let's put it on one line. And if you want to see me try out a URL of your own, just add the URL of your blog or your service or so in the chat, and I will do the next test with URLs that you say. But let's first put this on one line. And believe it or not, CSS is actually my Achilles heel. So I'm really bad at CSS. So I actually don't know perfectly on how to put this on one line. I guess we need a class here, and that then inline here. Yeah, that's it. And see, because this is like a livewire component that that has polling enabled. We can see our changes immediately, which is nice. This is maybe a little bit close, so maybe margin to the right of 1. Maybe that looks better. Yeah, I think it does. Let's maybe have another site here. Let's see. Do we have like another icon? That's bossy. See, this one is bigger. So I need to have like a maximum width and height, I guess. Width of 2, height of 2. So that gives maybe 4. It already looks pretty nice. Do I actually need that margin? Yeah, maybe we do. Margin right 1, like that. Okay, cool. Do all the favicons have the same size? It seems not. Just solve that. So this is already pretty good, right? Let's maybe try it with one more side. Let's maybe try it with something that does not exist. Does not exist. .com, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, then it can't fetch it and we don't display it at all. So I'm happy that that works, as well. So that's good. So this is already nice. Favicons. Already happy with this. What I'm going to do next, because it went a little bit better than I anticipated. So yeah, this is like the main part of the functionality. I should also have a task that fetches it for all other ones. There are three things that I can do. This should probably be moved to a job because this takes a little while, and now we're doing it in the same request. This probably needs to be a job, and when that job completes, we will see the favicon appear because this one pulse. I should also write a test for this to know that it actually works, and I should also write a command to fetch it for all other sites as well. Jonas, is it on purpose that Odir is not responsive for mobiles? Yes, that is indeed the that's indeed what we were aiming for. In the previous version, Odir, we try to be responsive, but it's very hard to have like the entire UI responsive because we display so much. And I think it's actually better not to try to be responsive at all because it's better to have like a not broken desktop version that you can use than an unusable mobile version. So that's why. And I think that for most people who only have like a couple of sites, it's even though it isn't responsive, the site is very usable. The things are large enough with a little bit of pinching to work with. So it's definitely an improvement that you can just see the desktop version now. So yes, it's intended. What I'm going to do first. Maybe the job. Yeah, I'm going to do the job first, so that we have a job to do this, so we don't block the requests if DuckDuckGo would be a little bit slower. So let's move that action to the job. So add favicon site job like that. Let's just steal this one. Professional programmer here. Add favicon to site job. Delete when missing models. That's a good one to have. Construct and the handle. Here we can have this logic like that. And this, of course, then is this site. This is also this site. It's okay. Should queue everything in order here. Yeah. So I can delete this action, and in create side job, I should now dispatch a new add favicon side job, add it to this site. I don't need this action anymore. Yeah, that is what I want. And let's try it out. Maybe let's see what it gives. I think this is good. Let's flush Redis. So Horizon. Isn't it flush Redis? Flush Redis maybe. Yeah. Okay. So everything is gone from Redis from previous tests. Let's start up Horizon. Horizon starts successfully. And let's maybe add another site. And this is already a little bug that I should probably clear this when a site has been added. I'm going to fix that after the stream. So let's try again here. And let's maybe, which site? Maybe laravel.com. And I'm also going to tail the log so I can see if anything goes wrong, what goes wrong. So let's add Laravel. So there's Laravel. And there you see it. The favicon came later. And now because we're running jobs, you can see that the other checks are running too. You can see that here as well. It's probably also now crawling laravel.com to find any broken links. We'll see what the result of that one of that is. So this is nice. Let's maybe add a command that adds this for all jobs, and that should be like relatively easy, I guess. So I'm going to just copy a command here. Clean up all data. This is already something that isn't named well because I like to suffix these things. I'm going to add that in one go. Let's do add favicon to sites multiple command like that. Okay. Let's just copy it from this. Add favicons to site. Dear sites add favicon to sites. Fetch the favicon for all sites like that. Fetching favicons. I need to have this. When I'm done, I'm going to display all done. And here I'm going to loop over each site. This is actually, if you call each statically on the model itself, then this will actually chunk all your sites. So this is a safe way to go over a large collection. So here we get site model. Here I'm going to say fetching favicon for We're going to use string interpolation here for site. Get the label of the site. I think get label attribute, so I can just use label. In label, that is just the URL or the friendly name if a user added a friendly name for the site. That is too important now. I'm also going to log the ID of the site. Site ID, like that. And then we're just going to dispatch that job, right? Just going to dispatch. You add favicon to site job for the site. And I guess that's it. I don't think there's anything else I need to do. Let's try to execute it. Some of these sites will probably don't have a favicon, but I think Immutable has one. So let's try it. Before I try it, I'm going to read the comments because there's a lot of things typed there. Papa, I think the main reason why you don't need a responsive version is that you receive notifications with all relevant information, and it's displayed fine on smartphones. Yeah, indeed, that's correct. Makes total sense. Papa. So yeah, no real questions there. Let's try and see if we get favicons for instance, Immutable. Is Horizon still running? Yeah. And we have failed jobs here. Did they all fail? Let's take a look in Horizon. Failed jobs. Why did you fail? It has been attempted too many times. The job may have timed out, but what was the real error here? Attempts. This was for site number 6 of site ID 6, expired bad SSL. URL. Okay. I didn't catch that exception just right, I guess. Probably I forgot to import the exception. Yeah. I don't want these exceptions. Just give me the global one like that. Let's just try that again. So I'm going to flush Redis. So Horizon is nice and clean again. So if I refresh here, then it's back empty. If you want to know what flush Redis is, let me display that. That's just sending a command to Redis to delete everything. Don't do this in production. And now we can try again. And now I shouldn't see any failed jobs. Let's try. Pending jobs. Am I still running Horizon? Yeah. Okay, there aren't any jobs. They're completed. They're still I forgot to restart Horizon. Something I often forget. So I flushed Redis. That's yeah. The jobs again. Let's start Horizon. Back. Pending jobs. A lot of pending jobs. They're being processed, completed, and none of them failed. That's good. Let's go back to Udir itself. Site lists. And we didn't get anything for immutable itself. How am I going to see this in action? Because I just want to have like the feeling that I just want to see those favicons appear. Let's maybe delete the existing sites here. These are the sites. Just remove them. It should also be removed here because, yeah, we're polling. You know what? I'm not going to dispatch it in the create site action for now. So I can add sites is fig.def. Add another site spatie.be. Like that, we don't have any things here. But this is strange because, oh no, it isn't. It isn't strange. I thought, hey, Horizon is still running. It should get a favicon, but of course there aren't any jobs now. I'm going to put comments, and now let's execute the command, and we should have the favicons appear here. Yeah, let's try it. Fetching favicons. Come on. And there they are. So I have like a good way of adding the favicons for all existing sites as well. And it's safe because if it fails, we won't have an exception of any kind. So I think we're good. So the last thing that I probably should do is write a test for the job and for the command. But what's the time? Yeah, I said that I wanted to stream like for an hour. So this might be like, unless there are any questions, to call it quits. I think the test will be very, very simple. I will probably just use a factory to create a site, then execute the job, and then we'll get the media from the collection and see if there's something in it. Maybe that's. I'll just do it. We'll just do it. We'll go a little bit over an hour. I don't mind. So let's try it. Already push this because this is already good work. Let's see here. Yeah, the tests, I should probably restructure them a little bit because we have like a lot of tests in Udir. Where am I going to put this? You know what? I'm just going to do it in jobs for now, and I'm going to move it to other parts, another part of the test suite later. So this one will be add favicon to site job test. This is actually a test. It can add a favicon to a site. We are going to create a site. So sites, model, factory, create, and I'm going to actually reach out and fetch a real favicon. URL is, I'm going to get the favicon from, is there actually favicon on in here? Yeah, there is a favicon on Odir, so I'm just going to use our own site for this. And for Odir, I actually don't mind reaching out to the internet and doing stuff like that. It gives me a lot of certainty that it is working. I could probably mock some things, and some of the tests, for some of the tests we have put a lot of effort not to reach out to the internet. When we for instance, when we try to determine if the broken links behavior is correct, we actually have in our tests an entire Lumen application which we can control which URLs are loaded and not loaded to test, like, can we detect all broken URLs? But for smallish things like this, I don't mind just going out to our own site and fetch the favicon there. Yeah, and I should actually go out to the internet because, yeah, we use like an external service for this. So yeah. Here I'm going to dispatch the add favicon to site job. I'm going to pass site there. And here I'm going to assert count. I want to have like one favicon in the collection. So site get media. It doesn't know that it's a site, so we're going to type in that or add a doc block. Get media favicon, and I guess this is it. And that works. Let's see if we can make it fail just by doing nothing. And then it fails. So that's good. That's also something that I always do. If test returns green, I don't believe it and I want to see it fail as well. And I think it's also important that it doesn't throw an exception when we use a non-existing domain. So let's put that also in tests. It will not throw an exception when it cannot fetch a favicon. Like that. So we are going to have a site. This domain definitely, I'm going to make it reasonable. This domain definitely does not exist.com. Like that. We're going to dispatch the job. And here we want to know that there's nothing in this collection. Like that. Oh, that's already good. And let's see if we can make that fail. So I'm going to remove the try gadget block. So we will have an exception just to know for sure. And now it fails. You can see here that we have an exception like that. And that's it. Let's maybe, just to be sure, run both tests. And everything is good. Add tests. I should probably also write a command. I'll do that later or a test for the command, but it will be more or less the same than this one. So I'm not going to bother you with that. I can't push it because probably there are some styling things that were fixed automatically via GitHub Actions. And that's it. So let me show you the heart of what we have done here. We have gone to DuckDuckGo to get favicon. We've added that to the media library, and if there is a favicon, we now display it on our site. So I'm probably going to add one more test, and if I'm feeling lucky, maybe I'll deploy this later tonight or tomorrow so people can see that favicon. Okay, let's take one final look at the chat, and then I call it a day. So if you have any questions, put them in the chat. Put them in the chat now. There's like a 20-second delay here, so do it now. Otherwise, I'll stop. First question: does Odir run on AWS Vapor or just a normal server? It's a little bit of both. So the Odir, the main application, runs on a very beefy server. I think it has like 40 cores or something like that. I'll tweet out the specs in a bit. So it's a very beefy server because I can't give you any numbers right now, but we check a lot of sites, so we need a lot of processing power to do that. And if we were only checking like performance and uptime, I think a smallish server would be good, but it's actually the crawling part that takes a lot of processing power, because we need to process the DOM, we need to continually fetch pages. I think you'll see that on our main site. There we say how many things we do, and here you can see the amount of checks that we have run and how many notifications that we have run. So this is like a lot. So the main part runs on a regular server, but the cron check, the endpoint that receives pings for the monitoring of scheduled jobs, that runs on Vapor, because we can't really predict how many sites will ping us. So for our regular checks, Odir decides when to reach out to another site. But with the scheduled job checks, the other sites, they decide when they contact us. So the load is a little bit harder to predict, and that's why we put that endpoint on Vapor. And there's communication between like the Vapor, like the microservice that runs on Vapor and the main app. So that's how that works. A little bit off topic, but how do you organize the HTTP layer with that kind of structure? Well, I can show you. So the domain directory, it doesn't care about presentation at all. This is like, in most cases, just pure logic. The HTTP part, that's where the controllers live. We have an API part. So we split things up in the big chunks of the application. So we have an API with a lot of stuff. We have the application, and this is this is like the part of the applications when you're logged in. So it has all the things there, and the front application is like the public the public facing website. So that's this, and you can see there's only controls request there. There isn't as much going on as like in the application here. So if maybe I can show you that as well. Oh, I don't need, I'm not going to log into the production version, but I'm going to stick using the local version here and show you. So the structure here of the controllers, it more or less follows the structure of the URLs here. More or less, I should say. We have everything around, let me see, it's been a while. Here's everything from sites. So this is sites. Here's everything around notifications, and that handles this part, and so on. Settings, it should be better, I think, in sites. If I see, it is in sites. So settings, it's all of this. So yeah, it follows the URL structure really, and that makes it handy to. Yeah, if I see site settings, then I need to. Then I know, hey, it's site settings. I hope that answers your question. Couldn't you use a model observer for the event? I don't know what event you mean. I think you skipped my question, Samuel says, so I'm going to scroll up. Not really a question related to this topic, but how do you restart Horizon in production? Do you stop pushing new checks and restart Horizon when the queue is empty? No, what we do is we empty the. I think we restart Horizon and then empty the entire queue of jobs. So we're not going to wait because it isn't that important. How do I say this correctly? I don't mind if a check is like a few seconds later than it should be. We don't deploy often, and sometimes we want to do like quick deploys, and then we don't mind just empty out the queue and just redispatching all the jobs. It goes fast enough, and then we have the guarantee that it's certainly running the new code. Because if we would do the opposite, those crawl jobs, they can take a long time. I think, sometimes even 15 minutes, and we don't want to wait like 15 minutes before having to kill before we kill Horizon. Hi, Robin. Maybe I missed it, but do you need to dispatch the job for the favicon also in the API controller for the new site? Yeah, that makes sense. So let's maybe do that as like a final thing here. So here we have the sites controller. And I think I don't need to do that because I suspect that the site here will actually call the action. So here you have the create site action, and in create site we have that job to dispatch that job. So yeah, this is like a perfect example of why you should put like logic in actions, because you can call them from multiple places. This is being called from the web app, and it is being called from our API. So both are covered at the same time. So I think we're done for now. We're run a little bit over time, 1 hour and 10 minutes, but I hope that you found this useful. I certainly found it fun. Thank you for all the questions. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye. Until next time.